The Netherlands is the third most educated country in the entire world. However, some people have argued that this educational system is very unfair, can even be racist, and has led to more segregation in the society. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, hi, my name is Josephine. I'm a YouTuber based in the Netherlands, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. Okay, thank you guys for your love and support. It means so much to me. As stated earlier on, guys, we'll be discussing about the Dutch educational system, why some people think that it is unfair or even racist. Okay, in order to dive into this topic, I'll be reacting to a video by Exploring the Foreign. This video is titled, "Is the Dutch educational system unfair?" I don't know. So we'll be watching this video together and I'll be reacting and sharing my opinion regarding some of the things that he shared in this video. Okay, so yeah, without further ado, let's get on with this video.
Dutch education system is unfair. At least that's my current opinion based off of what I learned from Dutch people and research online. You see, the education system here in the Netherlands is a very complex one. But that's just my perception based off of what I know so far. And I really want to test that. So in this video, I'll sit with a college professor here in the Netherlands to really understand how the system works here. And I also speak with some people on the streets to understand what was their experience with the Dutch school system. And after that, I'll determine whether or not my opinion changes.
Hey guys, so this video starts out with Sam. Sam is the owner of this channel, the guy you see on the video. He starts out by saying his own perception about the Dutch educational system as an outsider looking at it. So as Sam stated in this video, the Dutch educational system can seem a bit complicated or a bit confusing, especially to someone who is not used to it. In order for you guys to even understand what this system looks like, I'm going to quickly pause Sam's video and play some videos that I saw on the website dutchreview.com, okay, so that you guys can really understand what the Dutch educational system looks like. Now listen guys, if you're Dutch or you already know how the system works here in the Netherlands, then there won't be any need to watch this section of this video. So feel free to skip to the section that you're more interested in, and that's the continuation of Sam's video. Okay, so yeah, let's go.
For some people, the school system in the Netherlands can seem quite confusing, while in fact, it is pretty easy to understand. Let me help you. Children in the Netherlands are obliged to go to school. So at the age of 4, they go to primary school for 8 years. When a pupil finishes primary school, she can continue to one of 3 different types of secondary education, depending on the pupil's level. Preparatory secondary vocational education is vocationally oriented and takes 4 years. From there on, a student can go on to secondary vocational education. This prepares students for work or a work-related study program. Its qualification levels range from 1 to 4, with 4 being the highest level. After primary education, a pupil can also go to pre-university education. This is a 6-year-long secondary education track designed to prepare students for research university, where they can obtain a Bachelor of Arts or Science or Laws. After that, a student can continue studying to get a master's degree and do a PhD. So far, the school system in the Netherlands seems very similar to systems in other countries. But here comes the part that makes it different from most. Between university preparatory education and preparatory secondary vocational education, there is another line of education a pupil can follow, called Senior General Secondary Education. This is 5-year-long education that prepares them for studying in higher professional education. Higher professional education is taught at universities of applied sciences. This means that besides theoretical knowledge, the students will get practical, hands-on experience through internships, group work, and so on. A completed first year of higher professional education also grants access to the first year of a bachelor's program at a research university. After a student has received a bachelor's degree, he or she can continue studying and obtain a master's degree. Together, these 8 qualification levels make up the Dutch qualifications framework. The binary education system makes it possible for students to find a higher education program that best suits their skills.
Guys, so I think this video tries to explain it very straight to the point and easy, but what I think lacking in this video is that they didn't quite state exactly how you are able to join the different educational parts. So it's not like automatic, so you don't choose automatically which part to go to. You don't just choose, oh, I want to go to VWO, so yeah, I'm going. No, so there are procedures or processes that you need to take that eventually gets you there. And that's why I'm playing this second video, for you to kind of just have an overview before we continue Sam's video.
And then the question arises of how do you put a child in the right level of high school? And the answer to that is the CITO test, which is the only standardized test all pupils will take in the Netherlands. And they will take this test at the age of 12, because it will be at the end of their final year of year 8 in elementary school. So children will be around 11, 12 years old when they take this test. This test will, for most children, determine the rest of their lives. Similar to an IQ test, and it has reading and maths and spelling sections. It's all multiple choice, and it's believed to be the type of test that you cannot really study for. However, the funny thing is that my elementary school did not practice for this test at all. They only explained sort of the logistics about taking the test, such as how to fill out the answer sheet. While I learned from talking to other Dutch people throughout my life that there are schools out there who have been practicing for this test for 2 years. And there's also parents who put their kids in private tuition to prepare them for this test. But anyways, the CITO test is a test that takes place on one day in all elementary schools in the entirety of the Netherlands. It's on a random day, it's a one-off score, and the one-off score will be a number between 500 and 550, and that in combination with the advice of your final year school teacher will determine to what level of high school you go to. And therefore it will also determine whether or not you will be likely able to go to university, because the secondary education level will also determine the higher level of education that you have access to upon graduation. So essentially, what if your teacher doesn't like you, or what if you had a bad day on national test day? And any kid who essentially scores below a 535 will have an incredibly hard time to make it to university. Pupils often move down instead of up because the system is so fragmented. It's very difficult to make sure that you can move from HAVO to VWO or from Free-MBOT to HAVO solely based on practicalities, as at the moment of making your subject choice at 14-15 for HAVO or 13-14 for VMBOT, you must already have decided that that is the path you want to go on, otherwise you risk not having the right subjects, and often pupils move down. After my bridge year, we entered VWO with over 90 of us in the second year, and throughout the rest of the years we have lost a third of the pupils. And I was at a school that performed really well. I was at a good school, and I only remember one girl in my school making the move from HAVO to VWO.
Okay guys, so now that you've watched this video or this section of this video, I just want you to let me know in the comment section, just by virtue of watching or understanding what the Dutch educational system looks like, let me know in the comment section whether you think it is unfair. There are a few things that I actually learned for the first time just by watching these videos. One of it is how difficult it is to switch from one pathway to a higher or a perceived higher educational pathway, and how common it is to move from a higher pathway down to a lower pathway if you do not do very well in one of the compulsory courses. So it's very interesting to see this.
Wat voor niveau heb je gedaan voor je opleiding?
VWO.
Het HBO.
Ik heb op de middelbare school VWO gedaan en daarna ben ik doorgegaan naar de universiteit.
Ik heb meerdere opleidingen gedaan. Ik heb niveau 2 en niveau 3 gedaan, allebei MBO.
Oké, wat zou je zeggen was jouw ervaring in het Nederlandse schoolsysteem?
Mijn ervaring op zich goed, maar ik heb in België gestudeerd, uiteindelijk mijn master, dus het was een bewuste keuze. Was allemaal wat makkelijk met kamers.
Ik heb er verschillende meningen over.
Bijvoorbeeld?
Het is redelijk complex en je bent best wel afhankelijk van wat er wordt bepaald wanneer je 12 jaar bent. En dan weet je gewoon nog niet zo heel erg veel. Maar het is wel heel erg bepalend eigenlijk voor de rest van je toekomst. En dat is best wel lastig.
Okay guys, so from the first interview that Sam did, a few people like had different opinions. Some of them like were very happy with the education that they got. They felt like it was really good. Another lady that she interviewed kind of stated that, you know, she thinks it's good. However, she has a different opinion. She thinks that, you know, at 11 or 12, that's when they take the CETO test, and she feels that it's really quite early and they don't have a very big understanding of what the end or what the aftermath of that test would be and how that would influence the rest of their lives. So another person that he interviewed had the opinion that he thinks that it's fair that different people are being actually assessed by what they're very good at. So he feels like, you know, if you're good at biology, then, you know, you should do something related to biology. It's like, do what you're very good at.
In Dutch, we have profiles.
Yeah.
So you have like a technical profile or an economic profile. They have to choose that. So sometimes, not always, but sometimes students who, for instance, choose an economic profile, it's very difficult from that profile. Let's say that in year 5 they are like, oh no, you know what? Actually, I want to be a doctor.
Yeah.
Then they don't have the courses followed in year 4 and in year 5.
They're on a whole different track.
They're on a whole different track. In my opinion, students, they have to choose too early what profile and therefore what direction they want to follow.
That brings us back to the video that we watched earlier that was just trying to explain that it's really not that easy to move from one, you know, level or one pathway to another, as it is to actually be downgraded.
Ja, ik denk ook nog één ding wat belangrijk is. Ik denk dat wij heel erg gefocust hebben in deze wereld, of in ieder geval in Nederland uiteraard, op het VWO is het beste wat er is. En wij zijn heel gefocust om daarin, zeg maar, dat het meest succesvol is. Ik denk dat we VWO moeten laten zien dat, ja, ook als je bijvoorbeeld MBO of een andere opleiding, wat dan niet op dat niveau is, dat het eigenlijk fantastische banen mee kan krijgen. Dus dat het veel meer daar moet promoten. We moeten niet neerkijken op een andere baan die met zijn handen werkt of wat dan ook. Dat zijn specialisten die vaak beter werken, meer nuttig werk doen dan ik doe. De hele dag achter een computer en een paar dingen intypen.
Okay guys, so another guy that he interviewed, which I really liked his point, he was saying that his own opinion regarding this is that people really need to start placing value on every type of job and not just some jobs that they feel require more intellect to get to. People should focus more on, you know, respecting every profession, okay? Whether the person had to go to university to be in that profession, or the person had to go get the MBO to be in that profession, it doesn't matter. It's someone's job and those people deserve the same respect. So, which I kind of agree with what he's saying, because I think that's where the problem is because the moment you begin to rank one profession above the other, especially in terms of, you know, importance, those who went to MBO that have more practical knowledge, that work really good, very well hands-on, also have like areas that they do better than someone who, you know, who is more intelligent, quote unquote, right?
Talking about how someone at the lower levels might be perceived as not as intelligent. At the end of the day, these levels are split up based off of learning ability, but there's a lot of other things outside of your learning ability that demonstrates intelligence.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it demonstrates,
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be book knowledge.
Exactly, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
A lot of things outside of your book knowledge gives you the opportunity to show you have intelligence.
Wat ik goed vind aan het systeem is dat je voor mensen die een meer praktijkgerichte opleiding willen volgen, dat die wel een kans krijgen om zich verder te ontwikkelen in iets wat echt goed bij hun past. En dat ze niet in een hokje worden geduwd in iets wat te theoretisch is, terwijl ze gewoon met hun handen willen werken. Ik vind het goed dat daar ruimte voor is op de middelbare school en tijdens studie. Maar ik vind wel dat als je eenmaal, stel, een beetje in het verkeerde bakje wordt geplaatst, duurt het heel erg lang om daar weer uit te komen. Dan heeft het wel een negatieve impact en start je toch te laag en is het te moeilijk om dan toch weer een switch te maken.
Okay guys, so another thing that those he interviewed kind of pointed out, which I find interesting, is the system favors those who already know at an early age what they want to do. But where they find it a bit challenging is if you are being placed in the wrong box, okay, at an early age, you don't necessarily want to do a practice or a practical based profession, but you were put there because of your score. Maybe you scored low due to some circumstances at that point in your life. So for those type of people, it could be a bit difficult, especially if you kind of figure out what you want to do later on in life. It could be a bit difficult to switch, or rather it would be a longer process for you to switch.
you're kind of in agreement that there's some unfairness to it, or what do you think?
Yes, but the unfairness comes in two things. We know, because there is research based on that, that the assessment of students in primary school is not always done fairly. There is research that shows that students from, for instance, children from parents who are academically educated, they are generally placed in a higher level.
Yeah.
So they get like the VWO advice.
Yeah.
And research also shows that students who are from parents with a lower social economic background, or maybe a foreign background, are placed in the lower levels. I mean, I don't know why that is the case.
Yeah.
Is it because parents who are from a university background, are they more involved with their child's education and therefore more prone to motivate their child or stimulate their child at home instead of just only at school? Do parents from maybe a foreign background, maybe they don't know the types of possibilities that there are, so maybe they are just not informed enough, and maybe the language barrier adds to the fact that they are not informed enough, and maybe it has less to do with the students' abilities. I think we need more research on that.
The professor actually kind of, identifies some of the flaws that the Dutch educational system has, one of which is that there is research going on to kind of investigate whether, for kids to choose at 11 or 12 years old, whether it's too early. But then I have a follow-up question to that, If 11 or 12 years old is too early, what age then do you think is an ideal age for them to choose? Do you think they should choose much later on, maybe when they're 14 or 15? And before they get to that level, what do you suggest them to do? So do you think all the children should do the same course, the same theoretical education and everything, and then be able to choose from 14, 15? Is that what you think? Do you think it would be a better alternative to what we already have? And then another thing that they stated is that that some of the advice that the teachers give, sometimes the teachers don't consider the learning potential of the child, and sometimes they give advice that are not really a pure reflection of even the child's learning capacity. So that's also one possible downside of this educational system.
Had je ook wat je hebt gestudeerd?
Nee, ik gebruik helemaal niks meer. Ik doe nu een hele andere richting qua werken en zo. Wat ik nu doe vind ik eigenlijk veel leuker. En, maar ja, ik ben nu bijna 23. En ik begon de school toen ik moest kiezen toen ik 17 jaar oud was. Dus ja, dat is wel heel wat anders, zeg maar.
Ja. En wat doe jij nu?
Ik werk nu als cameraman en fotograaf. Dat doe ik als freelance. En dan daarnaast werk ik nog in de winkel.
I'm curious, what would you say, I mean, I feel like we kind of talked a lot about maybe some of the drawbacks to the system here, but what would you say are some of the pros?
One of the pros is definitely workload, because if you let students choose earlier, they can drop a lot of subjects that they don't need. And subjects that, if they choose well, it wouldn't have an added value for the rest of their course.
Yeah, that makes sense, because I think that is one of the drawbacks people talk about usually with the US system.
Yeah.
Is that it's too general and everyone's doing too much of the same type of classes, and for a lot of people it's a waste, because it's like, I have no interest in this specific subject, why am I doing this,
Yeah.
And that is definitely something I recognize. So, after working on this video for about a week, doing interviews, research online, and thinking about all the information, it's time to answer the question. Do I still find the Dutch education system unfair? Yes or no?
Okay guys, so now that we've watched this video, it boils down to the question, do I think that the Dutch educational system is unfair, or do I even think it's racist? Okay, do I think that it targets some people in the society and kind of just oppresses them or segregates do I think that it segregates the society? Do I think that it has all these flaws that it has been accused in recent years? I would say I don't think that the Dutch educational system is unfair, and I want you to hear me out, okay? When you say an educational system is unfair, that means that there is a better way, or an educational system that you've compared it with that has a better level of fairness, okay? The system has its own flaws, and the first flaw that it has, in my opinion, is the fact that the children have to choose at a very, very young age. This decision literally can influence their lives forever. So yes, I do think it's quite early. However, looking at the benefit, okay, the benefit to this is that the children can choose at an early stage. It kind of helps to reduce the workload that they have to carry, so they don't need to do the entire course for maybe 3 or 4 years before they are able to choose. I still prefer the idea of choosing on time so that you can reduce workload. However, I would suggest that there are opportunities for them to, take maybe an additional exam if you didn't do well in the first CITO, to take maybe a receipt exam, an additional exam in the first year or the second year of your academic year, to be able to, qualify for a higher academic pathway. So that's my opinion, that's what I think. Okay, so do I think that the Dutch educational system is racist and targets foreigners or low income earners or people that are not educated? I don't think that it's intentionally racist or it intentionally targets this particular group of people. However, I do think that because of the flaws that it has, so if their parents are not educated or do not understand how the educational system works, it is possible that they don't, incite the children to do the very best that they can. Regardless of anything, I actually think that the Dutch educational system is quite good. I just feel like parents need to be a bit more involved and understand the role that they have to play in their child's life. Do let me know in the comment section what you think. If you're Dutch and you've been part of this educational system, let me know your opinion. Tell me, do you think it's unfair? Do you think it's fair? Is there something in this video that I might have missed out? Let me know in the comment section. I'm very curious to know, okay? And if you're not Dutch, if you're actually hearing about this type of educational system for the first time, let me know in the comment section what you think, okay? Thank you guys once again for watching, and don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and please consider subscribing. It will mean so much to me. Thank you guys once again, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!